Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 20 of What If Naruto Was a Badass Genius. Remember to get this one to 200 like as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also stay in tune because after this I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was Neglected by Everyone. So stay in tune for that, and I hope you guys enjoy. And later over on Anime King 2, I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was Banished and Gathered All the Jinchurikis. And after that, I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Aizuna Uchiha Was Naruto's ancestor. So stay in tune for that, and I hope you guys enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying, talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, let's begin this new episode. Start the intro.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their
So, the last spot we left off. So now they gave Naruto the privilege, so he could leave the village when he wants to. As Naruto told them there's a lot of threat outside the village. And if he doesn't take care of it now, they will come inside, and that will affect the villagers. As he then went to visit Shikamaru, as him and Shikamaru had a nice talk, as Ino was blackmailing him to go on a date with her. As Naruto said that he's used to it, because she always did it when they were much younger. Naruto then got home as his mother was there along with Yujiro, as Yujiro kept on making some sarcastic comments about him and Mikoto, because she knew that something is up with Naruto and Mikoto, as Naruto didn't show any reaction to it though. He then asked her to meet him in his study. The moment she came in there, he was right in front of her, as she was pushed up against the door, and he kissed her out of nowhere, and to her surprise, she kissed him back, as he then broke the kiss and walked off without saying anything, as she asked him what the hell was that, as he said that he just wanted to experience and see what it feels like to kiss other person, as it is different when he was kissing Mikoto, as she just looked at him. The next day, Naruto and Sasuke were fighting in the training ground, as Tsunade and Jiraiya was watching through the crystal ball. There was also Kakashi and a couple of Anbus there, as Sasuke activated Susanoo. After Naruto started to break through his defense, Sasuke started to fire multiple arrows at Naruto, but with the high restraint, Naruto kept on blinking away, even without the Kyuubi, because Naruto did not use the Kyuubi's power. Naruto was still faster than Sasuke to vanish before the arrows hit him, as Sasuke got worn out. As Tsunade said that they just show piece of their power, as those two can be the greatest in Konoha, judging from their abilities now, and she doesn't see any way that Naruto is going to leave this village, with his mother love this village and want to stay here, and Sasuke won't do that either because he has to run his clan. Gaara then came to the village along with Temari, as Naruto told Temari that he does not hate her. If he did, none of them would be in his house right now, as he told them where his mother was, as Naruto stayed with Gaara and talked to him, as he told Gaara he has no resentment or anything towards him, because as usual, if he did, he wouldn't be standing here right now, as Gaara told him that for what his mother did to him, and showed him what it's like to have a mother, he would one day make it up to Naruto, and they can be friends. Yujiro came back and visited Naruto later that night, as she was staying a distance away from Naruto, as she didn't want him to catch her off guard again. As Naruto asked her, why was she staying so far? She was a retired Anbu after all, she could push him off, but she didn't, as she said that she couldn't stop herself, as that made Naruto curious. So yeah guys, that was basically the last part we left off. You guys can switch across please and check it out for yourself. So let's start this new episode. We begin this new episode at the Uchiha compound. Mikoto stared at Naruto for a couple of seconds before sighing. They were in her bedroom and she was ready for action, but the blonde seemed to have things on his mind. What is wrong? She asked. Naruto shook his head. There is nothing wrong, he said. But ever since I returned to this village, there has been a couple of experience that I have. While it hasn't changed the way I think, it has opened my eyes about things that I was ignorant of. Yet, it still leaves me with so many questions. You know, there are questions that no one must answer for you. You must answer them yourself after searching yourself and your desires, Mikoto said. I will help you what I can, but something you must solve on your own. That is what growth means, she said. I thought I have grown already, Naruto said. For all of his life, he has been accused of growing too quickly. Mikoto even said that he was no longer a boy, but a man. Yet, there's a stage that he missed while growing up. You have, but you have not gone through the teenage years. Well, you're still a teenager, but if not brought to you, you would have missed this part of your life. Friends influence you in ways that you will not even think about, and your relationship now help you to prepare for the other one tomorrow. He remained silent for a few seconds as he then spoke. I am starting to understand a few things. When I went out with Ino, I realized that she's a precious friend who I cannot simply use for my own indulgence. I thought I could take advantage of her attachment to me, but I cannot do that to her. It would shatter the image she has of me, and my mother would be sad, Naruto said. Oh, so things didn't work out with her, Mikoto said, as she was feeling rather relief inside. If you continue to learn more things, you will surely end up living the kind of life your mother wishes for you. It does sadden me that I'm not allowed to dream that far ahead, she said. It isn't like I'm suddenly going to forsake you, Naruto said. I am happy to know that, Mikoto said. Sasuke is going to return soon, but if we don't use this time, he might end up finishing the task I sent him to go do before anything get done. We need to take a shower as well. I don't want to be in a situation where Sasuke asks me, why is there scent all over me? That would be difficult to explain, Naruto said. Nevertheless, I would like to see the amused look on his face if you tell him that you are giving me carnal knowledge, as Mikoto giggled, as that would have racked his brain. The next morning at Naruto's house, as it was 3 people at the table eating breakfast, Naruto was still getting used to the idea of having to see Yuji's face every time for breakfast. There was no longer those moments when he prepared his meal with his mother, and they went and washed the dishes. She did everything with Yuji nowadays, as he was feeling slightly left out. But he needed to get over these thoughts. She has been with him for years now, and he has no problem with her, because if he did, he wouldn't allow her to come in this house. Naruto turned to his mother as she was busy, talking to Yuji about something. Mother, Naruto said. As Kushina turned towards him, yes dear, she said. Her reaction was quick as it made Naruto smile, happy that he was still her son no matter who came in the house. I will be leaving Konoha later on today. I am following up a lead about a Uzumaki. If this proves to be correct, I might return another member to our clan, Naruto said. Kushina beamed up. That was the first time she was hearing the possibility of another Uzumaki being alive. Ever since they started search years ago, there hasn't been any news. But now, hearing this, it made her beamed up. If it wasn't something, he wouldn't bother to leave the village to follow it, so it must be something. And Kushina was excited. That is some good news in a long time, she said with a smile. Do you want me to follow you, she said. The hope in her eyes, it hit Naruto. As if this information was true and Orochimaru did have the Uzumaki, he could not fail. He would not, as he would come back with something, either proof that the person exists. As he could not give his mother hope and take it away. Naruto shook his head slightly. It could be dangerous and I have to travel. Kushina was silent for a few moments before nodded, as she knew that that meant he was going to fight. And he didn't want his mother in a battlefield. Of course, the fact that he was going to fight raised questions, but she didn't ask them. She didn't want to put Naruto in an uncomfortable position. He was strong and could handle himself, and he was a very smart boy as well. Just be careful, she said. Whenever have I not been careful, Naruto said. Kushina tilted her head to the side as she think about the question. As Naruto never expected her to think about it, it was just a statement. Since never, she said smiling, but even though you're strong, you're still my precious son. And I will always worry about you no matter where you are. You have nothing to worry about, Mother, Naruto said. I won't be leaving alone anyway. I will take Uncle with me. I just need the Hokage permission for her to leave. She's one of your friends, right? Kushina said to Yujeo, who nodded. She then turned back to Naruto. Do you not see the trend here? Asked Kushina. What? Said Naruto. Yujeo, Mikato, Ino, Temari, Hinata, and no uncle, said Kushina. You have a lot of female friends, but very few male friends. If we don't count Sasuke, we will remain with just Shikamaru. I am beginning to think that you like women a lot. Of course, I think that if you like them in a way, like Jiraiya did, that would be just ridiculous. Perhaps it's because they are the ones I've been able to get an understanding with, Naruto said. Well, you will be happy to know that Gaara wishes to make me his friend, and Hinata brought her cousin to me. Kushina beamed up at the Gaara part. There is no reason you shouldn't be friends with him, she said. Both of you are Jinchurikis. The both of you have been through some stuff, and I think you will understand each other. Don't you think so, Yujeo? She asked. Yujeo blinked as both of their eyes fell on her. She was just a spectator first, and now the entire thing had fell on her. She then smiled. I don't know much about the Kazekage, but he seemed to be a nice person, she said. As Kushina seemed disappointed by the answer. That wasn't the answer I was looking for, she said. Yujeo smiled. I know, she said. But if Naruto is as smart as he claims to be, he should understand what you're saying a lot better. Time skip. At the outskirts of Konoha, Naruto landed on a tree. Why are you following me, Sasuke? Sasuke landed on the same tree branch. I thought we were partners, he said. And now I learned that you're leaving me in that village to suffocate. It was a bit frustrating not have anything to do. He was a warrior. Waking up every day with nothing to do was a bit bothersome. Why had he even spent days sweating and killing himself to become powerful? He wanted to use this power he gained. It was being wasted in Konoha. He wanted to do something that would challenge him, something that would push him to make him realize that he truly trained with Naruto and Itachi, that he bust his ass training, sweating and nearly killing himself. Being in Konoha, waiting for Sandaime to come up with an interesting mission was a big waste of time. Are you a child now, Sasuke? Naruto said. Do you really need to tag along in everything? I did not call you because this was something I want to do on my own. It's a bit personal and I need to handle myself. Don't think for a moment I did not call you because I decided it was too dangerous. I am not your mother. But still, he would need to plan something for the Uchiha, or else he would insist on tagging along. As Sasuke, it was difficult at some times. One way to get him off his back was to give him the toys that he wanted. What could be worthwhile to make the Uchiha turn another way? I didn't say that you were my mother, Sasuke snapped. Now where are you going? I don't buy that crap about personal things. The only thing that is personal to you is your mother, and she's back at Konoha. The fact that you don't want to tell me made me even more curious and more want to follow you. Naruto shook his head. What do you think of the current status in the elemental nation, he asked, as he settled down on a tree branch. If that is your attempt to divert me away from the main subject, it is pathetic coming from you, Sasuke said. It is that kind of attitude that made me question if you have really grown, Naruto said. Now let us get this straight. I will not be crossing the borders with you. Now I asked you an important question. Now answer it, Sasuke. Sasuke was just reminded of the Naruto who used to bully him when they were much younger. But he was no longer that boy, and he would not allow Naruto to bully him around. Even so, he would know when to push and when to back off. I haven't given the elemental nation much of a thought, Sasuke said. Really, aside from his clan, there was nothing much that he talked about. He was never truly exposed to this world and how it acted to give a point of view. But what would it change if he knew? Would it change his life? That ignorant part of you truly bothers me, Naruto said, in a flat tone. You're going to be the leader of your clan. To remain ignorant, meaning that you're going to be a foolish leader. Do not become a foolish leader, Sasuke. Be knowledgeable of the things around you. No matter how humans try to deny this, but the environment around us shape our thoughts. Even I am influenced by the world and what things pertain to life itself. What do you want from me, Sasuke asked. Learn about the shinobi world, Sasuke, without purpose. You will just wander around this world and eventually you will fall into darkness. Because it will come knocking if you just stay still without a purpose, Naruto said. This world is evil, it is treacherous. You cannot trust it unless you're a masochist that love to be backstabbed. The weak are devoured and people like you are easily called over to the dark side. by the people who possess silver tongue. If you choose to ignore this world, it will give you a rude awakening, and you cannot walk with me if you don't open your eyes. I have big dreams, and those behind me must also dream big. If not, I will discard them, unless there's a special reason. Sasuke stared for a few moments before snorting. No matter what Naruto said, he was not going to leave him. Sasuke was not going to say it out loud, but he knew the reality. What do you do if you do not want the world to rule over you, Sasuke? Naruto asked. Sasuke blinked. Is that rhetorical? Naruto stood up, and you wonder why I don't discuss some things with you. When we returned to Konoha, you were wanting to find out how the villagers would act about my return, but now you revert back to a child. In any case, the answer is this: if you do not want someone to control you, you control them. To stop being influenced, we must influence the system. We must shape this world with our own hands. The main problem is the Akatsuki. Once they are removed, I might see a world that I desire, Naruto said, as he pulled a scroll and then threw it to Sasuke. Go to the valley at the end and meet Sai. Give him that scroll and request that he take you with him. I will meet you in 2 days. What is in here? Sasuke asked. If you want to find out, open it, Naruto said. Now I think I delayed my journey long enough. You still didn't tell me where you're going, Sasuke asked. I will fill you in when we meet up. If things happen, I might need your hands, so be ready. I might send you somewhere by the end of this day. After saying that, he vanished. Time skip. At Orochimaru's hideout. Naruto was walking through Orochimaru's hideout. This was exactly the place. Naruto came to a pause when he smelled a stinking smell. As he looked around, as he saw cells on the opposite side of him, as there were people in there, in whimpering in pain and agony, just wanted to die. But they didn't have the energy to commit suicide. It was just disgusting. Not the pitiful humans inside the cells, but just how far one person was willing to go. Even though he disliked humans, this was just despicable. As Naruto looked into their eyes, as it seemed devoid of life and hope, as he just continued to walk away. I did not think that he would just walk away like that, Kurama said. What did you expect me to do? Naruto asked. Open the cells or just kill them yourself to help them from their misery. I am sure they have experience enough. Death is the only good thing for them now, Kurama said. Still, even though you have soft spot for powerless humans, I thought you would do something. I'm not that kind, Naruto said, but my mother would be certainly disappointed if she find out about something like this. She has certainly taught me better. In any case, freeing them right now would be pointless. There is nothing I can do for them. If I free them, they're just going to be captured again. Kurama didn't say anything as Naruto kept on walking before reaching a hall, as he saw a large snake throne with Orochimaru sitting down with Kabuto right beside him. It feels like I have just appeared, Majesty, Naruto said. Why don't you get on one knee then? To make it reality, Orochimaru said that grin. As it wouldn't be so bad to have the Kyuubi Jinchuriki kneel in front of him. It would make him feel like a majesty. Then again, wasn't he the majestic Sannin already? I would feel filthy bowing in front of someone like you, Naruto said. The majesty of immorality, Naruto said. Majesty of immorality? I feel honored, Naruto. What should I name you then? You just watched a subject in those cells. Without a hint of pity for them, you just walked away. Are you any different? A person with morals would have done something. I don't actually care for humans, Naruto said. In fact, I'd rather have humans disappear from this world and just live with animals. That was certainly the truth, but of course his mother had to be present in that world. It would be meaningless for all humans to disappear without his mother there, but he was going to tell Orochimaru something like that. Orochimaru burst out in laughter. You're very interesting, Naruto. Since our encounter a couple of years ago, I have taken much interest in you. Honestly, I was much surprised and impressed by what you managed to pull. Well, that is what one would expect from the son of the 4th Hokage. Don't be ridiculous, Orochimaru, Naruto said. Genetics don't have anything to do with your intelligence or what you become. Your parents may have a couple of idiots. Yes, true, Orochimaru said. I guess it depends on your own cases and desire. Now, what do you want? Orochimaru asked. I want some information regarding the Akatsuki. I know that you're a former member, Naruto said. I am also led to believe that you have been keeping a certain redhead around your lab. My intel suggests that she may be Uzumaki. If true, I want her. Oh? You must be talking about Karin, and yes, she is Uzumaki. But I cannot give her away. I still have some use for her. Maybe after I finish using her, I will throw her towards your way. What makes you even think I will even give you information about the Akatsuki? We can negotiate, Naruto said. Orochimaru burst out in laughter. Tsunade would certainly have Anbu sleeping under your bed if she learned about something like this. But what is it that we can negotiate, Naruto? I know that you're using Danzo's route, your relationship with Itachi, and I am certain to believe that you were involved in the slaughtering of the Sand Council. I actually lie when I say negotiate with you, Naruto said. I would rather watch you burn slowly in pain and agony. I just wanted to see how much you knew. It seems you know a lot. Orochimaru tilted his head at Naruto. This brat is certainly different. If he would do something like that. But this was the same brat that cut off his head when he was trying to put the curse mark on Sasuke. One of his embarrassing moments back then. Things were different now. He had no choice but to save Sasuke back then. But root envoys have been digging around his hideouts, looking for intel about him, and the blonde came all this way to just to see him. What was the blonde banking on to save him? As that made Orochimaru curious. This is interesting, Naruto. What are you gonna do now that I know more about you? I didn't have any plans of fighting you before I entered this place, but now I believe it would be a sin to leave you alive, Naruto said. To me, you're not even human. You're not even an animal. You're just a disgusting bacteria that must be wiped away. You have wronged me, but beside from that, you have wronged many innocent people. Orochimaru burst out in laughter again. And what exactly are you going to do about it? I guess I should murder you, Naruto said, as he took a step forward. Orochimaru raised his hand in mock surrender. Unfortunately, we were just on our way out, Naruto. We can't afford to play with you today. But I do have someone that will entertain you, and should you survive, we will see how strong you have become. The moment Orochimaru said that, he vanished into thin air. It was good seeing you again, Naruto. Until next time, Kabuto said, as he also vanished. Naruto stood still. He didn't chase after them. He probably should, but that wasn't on the plan today. As he heard footsteps in front of him, the footsteps came to a halt. What's your name? Naruto said. He probably shouldn't ask names of monkeys, but for everything to run the way he liked, that is the best way to go about things. Gurren blinked at the question. When was the time that she had an enemy who asked her that question? It certainly caught her by surprise. It was usually exchange of jutsus and insult. Gurren, she said. Ah, Gurren, I see, Naruto said. Orochimaru must not really have any use for you, to leave you with me. It is also safe to believe that this hideout, Naruto said as he looked up, has outlived its usefulness. Well, if I discover it, chances are that someone else was going to discover it as well. What got to Gurren was that he said that Orochimaru no longer have any use for her, as her eyes narrowed in anger. Her master still cared for her, and she was still going to be his vessel even though he has been putting her on hold for years now. She still believed in his words. What makes you say that? Said Gurren. Do you even think that you can defeat me? When I was just a brat, I cut off his head and slammed the Rasengan into him. I left him headless, lying in the middle of a forest. The Kyuubi's chakra should have entered Orochimaru's system. I doubt he would sell that memo to his tools though, as Naruto had mixed the Rasengan with the Kyuubi's chakra, as he used it because he knew the Kyuubi's chakra was poison to humans. Even if Orochimaru think that you're strong, defeating you here will just prove my worth, right? In all accounts it should. But I can't believe you can do that, Gurren. Well, not to sound arrogant, so I'll rephrase my words. You. But Naruto couldn't get to say anything else, as Gurren slammed her foot on the floor, and crystal spikes exploded underneath him, as he quickly jumped up to avoid being pierced by the spikes. Gurren then launched at him with a small crystal spear in her right hand, as she was in front of him in a second within the air. Gurren dragged the spear right towards his chest, but Naruto blurred out of sight. He appeared on the floor once more, but he wasn't looking towards the fight. That's a rather unique ability you have, Gurren. I don't think there's anyone else who have that ability. It is interesting. Well, Orochimaru loved to keep himself surrounded by unique people, after all. Are you not going to fight? Gurren asked, seeing that the blonde wasn't making any attempts to fight her. I would rather not waste my time fighting a battle, that does nothing for me in the end. I don't fight for victory unless the only desire is to kill the opponent, Naruto said. Gurren was insulted by that, as she interpreted as she wasn't anything worthy to fight, as it pissed her off. I will make you regret those words. Naruto shook his head. You're confusing my response to a measure of your worth or your power. I didn't say you are weak. Quite the contrary, you're a powerful kunoichi. It's just that fighting you does not benefit me in any way. And it's not like it's a requirement for me to leave this place. What are you suggesting? Do you really think I will allow you to leave? Who wins will be the one to leave this place. This takes us back to what I was saying, Naruto said. It seems to have become expendable, and perhaps you're no longer needed. Orochimaru should have known this, and he left you alone with someone that defeated him when he was just a brat. Enough of this, Gurren shouted, as she was about to dash forward when she heard a voice, Gurren, as Yukimaru walked into the hall. Before Gurren could fully look at the boy, Naruto simply blinked away, like he wasn't even there, as he was now standing in front of the boy. He could have not seen the look of concern on her face when Yukimaru called her name, but even if he did, there wasn't any time for him to disappear like that. There wasn't a person that think that fast, not even her precious master. What are you? But Gurren stopped as Naruto grabbed Yukimaru by the throat, as he then turned to face Gurren, with the boy kicking and screaming in mid-air, trying to get out of Naruto's grasp. It is interesting, to someone who have bring other people so much pain, to be expressing these emotions, Naruto said, not even concerned that he was choking Yukimaru. So does someone like you deserve to have something important to you? These eyes of his, they're precious. They're clean and innocent. If you hurt him, I will hunt you down and murder you with my own hands, Gurren shouted. As she took some giant step towards Naruto, her tone was dangerous and cold. A lesser man would have been frightened, but it had no effect on Naruto whatsoever. When I came in here, I saw some humans that were made to suffer by Orochimaru. Poor miserable humans, I could almost pity them. You might not have been involved in the experiments, but there is a chance you kidnapped them from their village. You took them from their beloved. Don't you think it's fair I take something from you as well? Gurren had no response to that. She certainly wasn't a saint, and she enjoyed seeing some other things happening in here. She had watched in joy when experiments killed each other, but she could not stand and have it happen to Yukimaru. As she became too attached to the boy, she could not watch him suffer. And she knew if she tried to attack, he could kill Yukimaru. With the speed he just used, there's no way she could get to him in time. There is a red-headed girl named Karen. Where is she? Naruto asked. Redhead? I don't know, Gurren said. I say he has a few more seconds before the oxygen run out of his lungs, and that will be light out for him, Naruto said. I don't know where she is, Gurren shouted. Really? Naruto said, as Yukimaru stopped kicking, as he was slowly drifting into unconsciousness. I swear, I don't know where she is. She keep on moving around the hideouts, Gurren shouted back. Naruto then dropped Yukimaru to the ground. I see, he said. Would you mind escaping this place now? Or would you like to free the humans while I set up explosive tags? Gurren looked at him like he was crazy. He freed Yukimaru, why would she help him? Never mind, Naruto said as he created 10 clones. Well then, Gurren, we will meet again. If Orochimaru doesn't kill you, we shall meet again. As he disappeared along with his clones. As Gurren just sped towards Yukimaru, she didn't care about Naruto for now. A few minutes later, I'm surprised that you bothered to free those people, Kurama said to Naruto, seeing that the blonde just walked away earlier without even looking at them. As Naruto was hopping through the trees, heading towards the fire country, as he knew that Sasuke was waiting for him, and he had to make another stop somewhere else. It will be for the rest of the day and he had to be on the move the other day. He had told Sasuke that they would meet up in a day or two. Don't be surprised by my actions, Naruto said. You're being awfully talkative. It wasn't like the Biju to speak to him too much in one day. Usually, the Biju just kept his thoughts to himself. They only talked when he made his appearance in the cell. Perhaps it was getting bored. You're just doing things that make me comment, Kurama said. Besides from that, I'm bored. And I don't hate you to make me refuse to speak to you. You're also different from the other humans. And I said it before. We are similar in the fact that we both dislike humans. Interesting, Naruto said. Do not confuse my words, Kurama said. As he didn't need to explain for Naruto to understand what he meant by those words. And don't take me for a naive child, Naruto said. I did what I did, and it wasn't because of kindness anyway. In their state, the sexual slavers won't take them. They are already damaged, and the worst that can happen is that they kill themselves. Sometimes I wonder if you're really Kushina's son, Kurama said. Why didn't you kill that woman? You don't show mercy, and I would be baffled if you said you stopped killing humans. You wouldn't fight her because you know you would have ended up killing her. That I understand. She will be useful in days to come, Naruto said. I've just tested her and I know her weakness. Her weakness is kind of like mine, but that matters little. What is important is that I can use her. That is if she's still alive while I need her power. As Kurama just laughed. Naruto wasn't above using humans, and he didn't really have allies, he had tools. Maybe the Uchihas were a little different, but everyone else were tools for him to use for his purpose. The next day, unknown location. There was chakra signatures all over the place, but he wasn't able to sense anything because of this barrier. This was a base of operation for the roots, but it also acted as a training ground. The house that was built in the middle of nowhere was surrounded by booby traps, and there was an underground training facility built underneath it. Shinobi with clans have these things all around the elemental nations, so why not Naruto as well? The root group was one that will get him in trouble if they discover that he was leading them. As far as Konoha was concerned, the root agents died along with Danzo. This is quite the space you have created, Sasuke said, as he appeared behind Naruto, as it bothered him that Naruto kept something like this away from him, but he was impressed nonetheless. Naruto opened the entrance of the house as he walked into a large study. Copy my hand signs with your Sharingan, Naruto said. Once he said so, he did it and flashed away. Sasuke followed the same example with the Sharingan activated as he disappeared as well. He appeared in a large underground room. He could sense chakra signatures within, but his eyes could not see. He just followed Naruto out of the room, and they went towards a passage that was lit with candles. As Naruto turned into a corner and entered into a war room, there was only one person in the room, and it was Sai. As Naruto took a seat beside a large wooden table as he spoke, "Welcome, Sasuke. I hope you've grown enough that you won't be a liability." "Would you stop treating me like a child?" Sasuke said. "I get enough of that from my mother, and I cannot get mad because she's my mother, but it is insulting when you also treat me like a child and hide things from me." "I can believe that," Naruto said calmly, "but your attitude sometimes makes it difficult to trust you sometimes with things. Though you never sell out, I find some difficulty in sometimes telling you everything. In any case, I should start trusting you." "I'm listening," Sasuke said. "I should start where I was," Naruto said. "You gone to Orochimaru," Sasuke interrupted. "I figured that was the only reason you leave Konoha. If it was the Akatsuki, you would have said so and both of us would have gone together. Even if it was something to do with your future plans, you'd have gone with me. Why didn't you tell me?" "Because your presence would have made things difficult. You cannot forget that Orochimaru once tried to brand you with his cursed seal. We already know that it was a plan to get you to become his vessel. And he would have been more persistent to see how you have grown, and that would have been just bothersome." Sasuke still didn't find a problem in that situation. If Naruto was saying that Orochimaru was dangerous, it didn't matter because the two of them wouldn't have much difficulty in fighting him. Maybe the problem was Naruto, as he was too concerned with his plans more than anything. Certainly if it was about the danger that Naruto was fearing, then the both of them would have simply dealt with the situation. "Is there any other reason?" Sasuke asked. "Yes," Naruto said. "I was also handling something important for my clan. There is a Uzumaki that is with Orochimaru. Before I went there, it was all a rumor, but now I'm certain of it." Sasuke raised an eyebrow, as he could understand that Naruto wanted to deal with clan matters by himself. "What would have happened if it had turned out to be false?" Sasuke asked. "I would have been disappointed, and probably eradicate everything that was in sight. My mother wished for the Uzumaki clan to be restored, and it is my desire as well. Now we must limit the days that Orochimaru have left in this world." Sasuke smiled. "Since when did you start to decide who should live in this world?" As Sasuke knew that it just didn't end with Orochimaru, more people would be removed from this world. Naruto did not respond to that question though. "I will set a timeline and decide when Orochimaru must leave this world. Then we will face the Akatsuki. Until every one of them is dead, we will begin trying to manage this world." Sasuke snorted. The only thing Naruto really wanted was to have the world in a place, and the way that pleased him. There was no question that he found humans to be disgusting creatures, even though he was one of them. For him to live peaceful with his mother, this world had to be peaceful. What is all of this? Sasuke asks. Just a base of operations, Naruto said. To be able to control the future of this world, you need to have pieces that will be able to move around and cause effect. I cannot be everywhere at any time, and there are things that I cannot do as Uzumaki Naruto. Someone must do them for me, he said, as he looked at Sai and nodded. We have managed to spread our web all over the Great Village, excluding Konoha and the Sand. The cloud and earth are both dangerous and cannot be moved by mere words. The Raikage is a very understandable man, but he seems to respect strength more than anything, and he gets very emotional. Still, the lightning is very strong. The third Tsukage is old, but he's not stupid. I assume his grandchild will be the next Tsukage. I must court her then, he said. I will leave Kumo for now, and I must look on the Tsukage granddaughter. It might be difficult though, but I will try something. If she is ready, I wouldn't mind getting the Tsukage to get an early retirement and a meeting with the other dead Kages, he said. And then that will leave Kiri. It is recovering from the civil war, but the Mizukage isn't someone we really know about, other than that she is a dual bloodline wheeler, as I said. I have 2 appointments then, Naruto said. He then looked at Sasuke. You will accompany me to one meeting. Choose. I am curious, Sasuke said. You have nothing to offer to Kiri, but I wouldn't be surprised if you get the woman to like you. But if she's another shark, it will be difficult. What I am most interested in is how you deal with the Tsukage's granddaughter. The stone is notorious for its hatred towards your father, and I don't think that she would listen to you or anything you have to say. How are you going to deal with that? Sasuke asks. I guess you will join me when Kurosaki leave the stone, Naruto said. I'm thinking about moving Sai back to Konoha. It will be difficult to explain to Tsunade, and if I explain to her with troubles, I will have a cloud of suspicion on me. Why risk that much? Sasuke said. I know you wouldn't have a problem with the suspicions, but as you have said, if things will move much better, if we don't have the eyes of the 5th Hokage and her envoys all over us. If you get suspected of anything, I am also included in it. I know, Naruto said. But I want to have all cards close enough just in case if Jiraiya sniffs us out. I don't underestimate his intelligence. Maybe it's best if I let him know and beg him to keep it from Tsunade. If this gets discovered, I have him to cover up for me. What makes you think he will do something like that? I think that will be the safest bet. He then turned aside. You know where he is. No, Sai said. But if you want us to look for him, we can. No, it's fine, Naruto said. You must prepare yourself though. If things go well with Jiraiya, I might have to move you to Konoha. He then stood up. You know this place. It is like a safe house. If we want to run away from something or someone, I wanted you to see it. Now we can head back to Konoha. As Sasuke stood up as well. As they headed off. What else do you find from Orochimaru? Sasuke asked as the both of them were hopping through the trees. A potential new piece, Naruto said calmly. You will know her soon enough. I have a feeling that it won't be long for us to get to meet her. Despite how obsessed she is with her master, she has other feelings that will change her mind rather quickly. Just be careful, Sasuke said. You keep taking in pieces, and if you're not careful, one of these pieces might betray you, or if you can't control them, you will fail. Naruto turned towards Sasuke with a surprising look on his face. It is insulting when you give me that look because I just gave you a warning, Sasuke said. You just surprised me. I was not expecting such words to come out of your mouth, Naruto said. The next morning at Naruto's house, Yujiro stood at the entrance of the kitchen, staring at Naruto who was sitting with his mother at the table. She hadn't heard him when he returned, but she wasn't surprised. As she walked in and sat down at the table, she turned to Kushina. Morning, she greeted. Kushina smiled, but she did not give an immediate response. She was checking out Yujiro's clothing and her appearance in general. The woman looked messy and her night clothes was rather inappropriate with Naruto present. It was okay when it was just the two of them, but not when her son was seeing it. Morning to you, Yujiro. Are you sure you should still be dressing like that? It is a bit revealing, and despite everything, Naruto is still a male. Yujiro looked down to see what she was wearing. It wasn't like she'd forgotten. It was just out of habit or something like that. After a few moments, she shrugged. I wasn't thinking that he would be here. Besides, he isn't the one to get any funny thoughts. Unlike some perverts, he's a decent person, right? That may be true, but it doesn't mean that I am blind, Naruto said. But I can ignore it. Kushina smiled at Naruto's response. You're not blind, she said. If I wasn't slightly embarrassed, I would have asked what you were seeing, and in details as well. Naruto turned towards Yujiro with a gaze, like if she was naked. It makes me feel uncomfortable when you stare at me like that, she said. I was just curious, Naruto said. He then turned back to his mother. I have some good news, he said. What? She said, a bit excited as she wanted to know about if he find any Uzumakis. I was able to confirm the existence of a Uzumaki, he said. She has been living in Orochimaru's hideout. It is possible that the Snake Sanin collected her because there was something special about her. He does like to be surrounded by people with special abilities, after all. You can have no fears of her being a test subject, and she isn't an active kunoichi, as he didn't want his mother to think that she was working with the Snake Sanin to conduct experiments. That is great news, Naruto. Our dream doesn't seem to be fading now, said Kushina. This gives us hope that we will be able to revive our clan. As Naruto simply nodded. This also gave the hope that there could be another Uzumaki somewhere as well. If she is with Orochimaru, do you simply think that he will allow her to leave? Yujiro asked. As she was trying to rein down the excitement. I don't think your thoughts are necessary, Yujiro, Naruto said, as he knew what she was trying to do, and he didn't appreciate it. But to answer your question, Orochimaru wouldn't obviously give her away like that. But if you want something, you must fight for it. What do you mean by that, she said. She isn't always with Orochimaru, Naruto said. There can still be some obstacles, but none as dangerous as Orochimaru. I can plan around that, he said. Are you going to give her a choice, Kushina asked, as she got the feeling that Naruto would just take away the girl and bring her here. She didn't want things to be like that. If someone was going to join their family, it would have been by choice, not by force. Of course, Mother, Naruto said. What makes you ask something like that? It would be unthinkable for me to bring someone close to us who didn't want to be here. It would be dangerous what they might do to us in our sleep. But there is a chance that she's with Orochimaru by choice. Have you considered that, Kushina asked. Yes, Naruto said. It would be unpleasant if she's with the snake by choice. There would have to be some damage control. I don't think that person would be safe to live with us even if they're one of us. There will have to be rehabilitation programs. If it fails, we will have to reconsider, Naruto said. A couple minutes later, Yujiro found herself entering Naruto's study again, as there was a thing that she wanted to talk to with the blonde about that Kushina could not hear. But guys, that'll be ending this episode right here. If you want to see the next part of this, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below and turn that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And stay in tune for the rest of the what ifs coming your way. But I'm out for now, guys. See you guys soon. Peace.